Hi everybody, this is a pretty fun exercise. What we'll be doing is taking this art wall and we're going to be putting our own art pieces in these picture frames here. Now, one thing to remember is that I have already gone through and downloaded the art piece that I'd like you guys to bring in, which is this piece right here. And then after we do the first part together, I want you guys to go through and get your own pieces off the internet, or even maybe your own personal images to pull them into these picture frames. One thing that's really nice about this particular art wall is there is essentially already a, I just forgot what this is called, a mat around the art. You can decide if you want to keep the mat or fake a mat by masking it, or you can go corner to corner within the frames. It's totally up to you. Either way, have fun with it. And if I haven't mentioned it already, any type of art is welcome, and that includes your own work that you've done in other classes, or maybe even some photography that you've done. So to start off, what I want to do is start organizing my layers. So I've got a background layer here that I'm going to unlock, and I'm going to call this art wall. And then what I'm going to do is pull in the art piece that I have already sent you guys, this shepherd fairy. Now from last week, or gosh, maybe it's 2 weeks ago now, there are several ways of duplicating between file and file. I like the one where you drag into the new file, and then just remember to pull it in and then drop it. So here's what this art piece looks like in here. Sticking with layer organization, I'm going to call this one the shepherd fairy piece. All right. And then after I have that, I'm actually going to pull it off to the side. I'd like this piece to go here, kind of front and center. And I'm going to be reviewing the transformation tools that we went over in our last lecture. So remember, we already know how to transform, Control T, and up until this point we've just used it for scaling. So I can get it to the right size, but you can see that it doesn't get it to the right perspective. So I'm just going to keep shrinking it down until it looks like it might fit in the frame. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a mat, and at this point I'm going to hit enter. That looks like a pretty good size for me. And to help you and I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I only have one step left, and that's to Control T again, or transform. And if you remember from our exercise, my favorite one is distort. And what I'm going to do is grab these corners and I'm going to try to fake the perspective of the piece. And the way that I do that is I take a look at these lines above and I try to make them somewhat parallel so it just looks like it's still in that same perspective. And then I'm going to grab this side and kind of squish it in. Hopefully it doesn't look like she's too skewed for that wall, but I think that that should work. And again, with skew and distort, pretty much anything in Photoshop, just remember that these aren't like construction documents where it has to be exact. It just has to be exact enough to where it looks like it could fool somebody. So to finish it up, I hit enter to apply the transformation. And if you remember from the exercise, I did that a couple times. I would hit enter and then I transform again. This time I got it done in one swoop. And the other thing that I also did is I hit Command 0 to do a zoom all because I had been zoomed in pretty close to the image. And you know what? I think that takes care of it. I think that that looks pretty good. I think most of my lines are aligned. I actually think that this bottom one, now that I look at it again, do you see that this spacing isn't symmetrical and this one isn't? So I'm going to pull this corner up and this corner down just slightly. So I'll go back to distort. And again, play with perspective, see what works for you. These tools are for you to discover. I think that looks much better. And that's it for our first art piece. So I was able to get that done in just under 5 minutes. Might take a little bit longer for you because you are just learning how to use those tools. But after you get this one placed, please go ahead and do at least 4 other pieces, and it's up to you to decide which frame it goes in. That's totally up to you. and go ahead and save this assignment, and we'll build onto it next week or the week after. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope to see all of your work come in soon. Thanks.